You have felt it for weeks now, a quiet pressure under your chest that does not behave like fear, because fear pushes you down, and this thing keeps pulling you forward. Chosen one, I need you to be still for the next few minutes, because what I am about to say is not comfort. It is information. Sometime in the last month, you caught yourself thinking that something is about to change. You had no evidence for it. You dismissed it as wishful thinking. And the thought came back, quieter and heavier, like it was not asking for your agreement. There is a reason that thought will not leave you alone. There is something God has been keeping from you. Not because he enjoys your confusion, because until now, telling you would have cost you more than the silence did. That season of sealing is ending. It is ending because the thing itself is about to happen, and you cannot be kept unaware of an event you are meant to walk into. I know how that sounds. You have heard big promises before, from voices that wanted something from you. So test everything I say tonight against your own history. I will not ask you to believe me. I will only ask you to recognize yourself, because recognition is the one witness that cannot be bribed. So here is what this message will do for you. You will finally understand why the silence of these past years was never rejection, and the explanation will be more precise than anything you have heard before. You will feel something lift that you have carried so long you stopped noticing its weight. And you will leave knowing exactly what to do next, because information without movement changes nothing. Before any of that, I want to show you something about yourself that you have never said out loud. When small things go wrong, you handle them with a calm that surprises people. A flat tire, a hard conversation, a bill you did not expect. You manage all of it. But when a real door begins to open, when the exact opportunity you prayed for finally shows its face, something strange happens. A fog rolls in. You hesitate. You overthink the first step, until the step no longer exists. Then you spend weeks asking yourself what is wrong with you. You have called that self-sabotage. You have called it fear of failure. It is neither, and the proof is simple. If it were ordinary fear, it would show up everywhere. It does not. It shows up precisely when the stakes are sacred. That precision is not random. It has a cause. The cause has a location, and we are going to open it completely before this message ends. For now, hold this. The fog is not your personality. It is a condition, and a condition can be reversed. That single sentence has already loosened something in you, and we have barely begun. If that pressure in your chest sharpened while I was describing it, do not let this moment pass silently. Type "it is time" in the comments below. Not for me. As the first recorded evidence that you heard the alarm while it was still ringing, before anything visible confirmed it. Because here is the part nobody prepared you for. The secret was never being kept from you to exclude you. It was being kept for you, the way a father keeps the location of a gift from a child who would go looking too early. And the reason it cannot stay hidden any longer is the most important thing I will say today. The gift has already been moved into position. Let me take you into the years you do not talk about. There was a door that opened halfway and then closed without explanation. There was a person with half your preparation who was promoted past you while you smiled and congratulated them. There were prayers that seemed to stop at the ceiling. And yet, in the middle of all that silence, you never fully lost the sense that you were being watched. Not surveilled. Watched the way a craftsman watches metal in the fire. You built explanations for this, because the mind cannot live without explanations. You told yourself there must be some hidden sin. You told yourself your faith must be too weak. And some nights you told yourself the worst one of all, that you were simply forgotten, one face among billions. And the feeling of being chosen was a story you invented to survive. Every one of those explanations is wrong, and I can show you the pattern that replaces them. It is called the sealed season. Here is how it works. When God places an assignment on a life, the assignment is real from day one, but the announcement is timed. A promise exposed before the person can carry it does not get fulfilled faster. It gets destroyed. Sometimes, by the envy of others, more often by the person themselves, who spends the promise in words before it matures into substance. Consider Joseph. He received his dream as a teenager and announced it at the family table, and that announcement cost him a pit, a caravan, and years inside a prison he did not earn. But watch what changed in him. The second time revelation came, he had learned to hold sealed things. He interpreted quietly. He served faithfully in obscurity, where nobody applauded. And the full unveiling happened at the exact moment it could not be stolen, standing in front of Pharaoh in a single afternoon that reversed 13 years. The speed of your breakthrough was never the question. The timing of your unsealing was. Now bring that home. Those years you grieve were not lost mail. They were the sealing process itself. You were not being ignored. You were being made unbreakable enough to survive your own answer. The silence was not the absence of God. It was the sound of a vault being guarded. So tonight, retire the question you have asked 1,000 times, the question of why this is taking so long. Replace it with a more honest one. What is being protected in me, and what am I being prepared to carry? The moment you ask that question, you stop standing outside the vault and start standing inside it. And now I need to place something in front of you before we go further, because it belongs to this exact point in the story. Over the past several years, in research laboratories far from any church, something was discovered that most people of faith have never been told about. A small group of neuroscientists, led by a doctor in New York who has spent decades on one question, found something about the design of the human mind that explains what spiritually sensitive people have felt for generations without being able to name it. The finding traces back to a Nobel Prize, and yet its application is so simple that it sounds almost suspicious at first. I will tell you exactly what they found later in this message. Until then, carry this question with you everywhere. What if the fog you battle is not age, and not weak discipline? What if something was taken from you? Hold that question. But first, notice what happened inside you when you heard about the vault. Something in your body recognized it before your mind finished weighing it. If that recognition is real, type hidden, not forgotten in the comments, because those 4 words are the exact reversal of the lie you have been sleeping next to for years. Now I have to tell you why the seal is expiring, and to do that, I need to give you one word in its original language. The Greek of the New Testament uses 2 different words for time. The first is chronos. Chronos is clock time, calendar time, the tyrant you have been measuring your life against every birthday. The second word is kairos. Kairos is the appointed moment, the instant when everything arranged in secret becomes visible all at once. Chronos asks how long it has been. Kairos asks only one thing: is it ready? Here is the bondage you have been living in, and I will name it plainly. You have been feeling behind. You watch people your age or younger, buying homes, launching dreams, walking in things you asked for first, and a quiet panic whispers that your window is closing. You have even done the math on your own life at 2 in the morning. Do not pretend you have not. That math is the signature symptom. You assumed the panic means you are running out of time. It does not. The panic exists because you are measuring a kairos life with a chronos ruler. Nothing appointed for you was ever scheduled on the calendar you keep checking. That is why every deadline you invented came and went without catastrophe. You kept surviving your own expiration dates. And here is the part that concerns you right now, the reason this message carries urgency without apology. A seal is not permanent by nature. It is temporary by design. Secrecy was a function of the season, and when the appointed moment arrives, secrecy does not simply become unnecessary. It becomes impossible. Heaven does not keep secrets past their release date. What was hidden for you begins announcing itself. First, as that pressure in your chest. Then, as coincidences that stack too neatly to dismiss. Then, as an unmistakable open door with your name on it. You are in the first 2 stages already. That is why you found a message like this one today. instead of scrolling past it the way you have scrolled past hundreds of others. If this is reaching you where you actually live, gently press the like button before we continue. Not for me. So this same message can find another chosen one who is still doing midnight math against a clock God never gave them. So the season has shifted and the seal is lifting. That would be purely good news except for one detail almost nobody addresses, and it is the detail that separates people who receive their appointed moment from people who watch it pass through their hands. Arrival is not the same as reception. A package can reach your door while you sleep inside the house. The appointed moment requires a prepared receiver. And the receiver is not your faith. Your faith has been proven by a decade of staying. The receiver is your mind. That sentence deserves repeating, so let it land again. The receiver is your mind. Which brings us back to the question I asked you to carry, the one about what was taken from you. Everything you have heard so far has been one half of the secret. The sealed season, the vault, the shift from clock time to appointed time. That half explains your past. But I told you near the beginning that something was discovered in research laboratories, and I promised to come back to it. I waited until now on purpose, because what they found is not information. It is a solution. And a solution only matters once you understand the full shape of the problem it solves. You now understand the shape. Before I open it, mark this moment. If you have stayed with me this far, you are not a casual listener. You are someone preparing to receive. Type "I am ready" in the comments below, because readiness declared out loud behaves differently than readiness silently assumed. Now answer me this. Why does knowing all of this still not produce movement? Why have you had moments of clarity before, in prayer, in worship, in messages like this one, that burned like fire for a day and then evaporated? Why does the insight stay insight instead of becoming a changed life? The answer is not in your spirit. It is somewhere you have not looked. Let me speak plainly for a moment, without imagery, because you deserve to know exactly what is true here. First, the why. Your seasons of delay were protective, but the fog you experience at decision points is not protection. It is a measurable condition of the mind, and it has been quietly working against you at every threshold you ever stood on. Second, the what. Researchers have established that the human brain is built as two hemispheres designed to work in synchronization, and that in the vast majority of adults, that synchronization has degraded without them ever knowing it. Third, the who. This touches sensitive, responsible, faithful people the hardest, because they spend decades carrying everyone else while their own inner equipment runs at a fraction of its design. That is who you have been. It is not who you are required to stay. In 1981, Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize for split-brain research, proving those two hemispheres are not decorations. They are two halves of one instrument meant to fire together. When they do, researchers describe a state called whole brain activation. Learning accelerates. Ideas connect on their own. The inner life feels vivid instead of muffled. Here is the number that should stop you cold. Studies found that 98% of small children operate at what researchers classify as creative genius level. Fewer than one adult in 1,000 keeps it. Modern schooling, modern noise, modern living, all of it slowly pulls the two halves out of step. Not sin, erosion. You did not lose your sharpness through failure. It was worn off of you. A woman from California described what that eroded state felt like from the inside. She said life was happening to her instead of through her. She prayed, journaled, tried every practice her community offered, and kept arriving at the same wall. She believed the words, but could not feel the reality behind them. Not in her body, not in the texture of her days. Then, after 10 days of what I am about to describe, she said something cleared, like a channel blocked her whole adult life, had suddenly opened. Not because she tried harder, because the receiver had been repaired. A man from Texas told a version of the same story through a different door. A business owner with 2 children, years of holding everything together for everyone, while his own interior life went thin. He said prayer had started to feel like talking into a wall, as if the frequency was right but the receiver was off. 2 weeks in, he woke up and described his mind as finally running on everything it was supposed to run on. The fog he had carried so long he stopped registering it as fog was simply gone. Both of them are describing what the team I am about to name spent years building. A group of neuroscientists, led by Dr. Daniel Barone in New York, took over an hour of clinical neural sync technology, the kind of whole brain activation protocol used in specialized medical settings, and compressed it into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence. 8 minutes a day. Headphones on, eyes closed. That is the entire physical requirement. They call it the genius switch. It is not a meditation app, and it is not one of those soundtracks you may have tried before that address only a small fraction of the picture. Those left you underwhelmed for a reason. What Dr. Barone and his team built targets, hemisphere synchronization at the whole brain level, refined through years of clinical work. In-person neurofeedback runs $300 an hour. A home machine costs $7,000. Meditation takes months to move the needle. This takes 8 minutes, passively, beneath your awareness, while you simply sit still. And I will be honest with you. The genius switch is not for everyone. It is for the chosen one, who understands that God prepared not only the promise, but the mind that must walk into it. The person who has been sincere for years, who kept returning to the call even when the evidence was not cooperating, and who is finally willing to stop treating the fog as a character flaw and start treating it as something with a specific address. Most people will scroll past this. You are still here. That is not coincidence. When colleagues around Dr. Barone heard it was being released to the public, they said it would be incredible value even at $500. And next to $7,000 machines, they were right. It was not released at $500, not at $200, not even at $100. It was released at $49. And today, on the page linked below, there is an additional $10 off. $39. With it come 4 free bonuses. A guided visualization from a top-rated creator, walking you through money, love, health, and happiness. A smart grocery guide naming the common foods that feed the fog and saving families more than $100 a month. A classic manifestation book over a century old. And a printable page of the 5 habits that build an ideal future, made to hang on your wall. All of it is covered by a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Listen once, or listen 80 times. If it does not do for you what it has done for more than 18,000 everyday people, every dollar comes back. No conditions, no questions asked. Why does this matter today and not someday? Because the provision God has already placed near you becomes visible to a synchronized mind in a way it simply does not to a partial one. What has been arranged for you is already in motion. The only open question is whether you arrive at the meeting point with the receiver online. And before this message ends, I am going to speak something over your life that I ask you not to hear casually. One thing is worth naming directly before we return to the deeper current of this message. If you go searching online for names that sound like what I just described, you will find imitations. The team studied them. Most carried a similar name, and none of the mechanism, because labeling a sound file costs nothing. The mechanism is everything, and it exists in one place. The direct page is the only verified source, and that is exactly where the link in the description below and in the pinned comment points. You can read every detail there before deciding anything. If your spirit resonates, that is where it waits, nowhere else. And hear me clearly on this. The tool does not replace God. It does not pray for you, obey for you, or surrender for you. What God is doing in your life was never conditional on any tool. but a tool that restores the receiver, gives what God is doing more room to land. That is all it is, and that is enough. Now, before I speak the final words over you, I have to be direct one last time, because urgency without manipulation is simply honesty about timing. If you are truthful with yourself in this moment, you already know what you are supposed to do next. Not generally, specifically. If the genius switch is what you are meant to act on today, go to the description below before you close this message, while the clarity is still warm. More than 18,000 people made that choice. Not eventually. Now. Then come back for this, because this is for you alone. Close your eyes if you are able, or soften them toward the floor. Picture a room with a single sealed window, and behind that glass, stacked to the ceiling, everything that has carried your name through every year you believed was empty. Watch the seal on that window begin to lift, slowly, without your effort, because the lifting was never your job. Your job was to remain in the room, and you did. Now place one hand over your chest and find the pressure that has followed you for weeks. It was never anxiety. It was proximity. Breathe out slowly, let your shoulders drop, and say quietly within yourself, I am not waiting anymore. I am being unveiled. Notice where in your body those words settle. That place is your anchor. Return to it every morning, until the window stands fully open. Father, thank you. Thank you for every year that looked like silence and was actually guarding. Thank you for sealing what we would have spent too early, and for choosing this season to let it move. Chosen one, receive this now. Release the years of explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand you. Release the midnight math. Release the shame of doors that closed, and the names of those who walked through yours. Release the belief that you were forgotten. Let all of it leave with one long breath, because none of it is permitted to cross into what is coming. Now, stand inside these words and take them as your own. I am not behind. I am sealed, and the seal is lifting. I am the one the secret was kept for, not kept from. My mind is being restored, my season has been appointed, and what God has arranged for me cannot be intercepted. I am the chosen one this message was sent to find. If you can carry that declaration as your own, type sealed and sent in the comments, and let it stand written where your own eyes can find it again on the hard days. And if someone came to mind while you listened, someone faithful and tired, who is still doing quiet math against a clock God never gave them, send this to that person today. You may be the doorway their appointed moment walks through. The secret is no longer a secret. What was arranged for you is in motion, and it is closer than the pressure in your chest suggests. Go and be findable. It is done.